Next on the Love You More Show.
I've always had a problem approaching women.
Really?
Yeah. You ever go in the mall, you're like, oh, you're attractive, and you just walk up? The rejection is just too much for me.
Dave, you selling T-shirts. People are saying no all day.
Because I wanted to incorporate my wife into my business, but that didn't work out well because you're not an entrepreneur. And my whole life as an entrepreneur, I hire people and I ask them to do certain things because that's what I hired you for. But it doesn't work like that with your wife. Where I'm like, I need you to do this. And she's like, well, I don't think we should do it that way because, and I'm like,
I feel like I owe an explanation to you because I didn't tell you why, like, divorce and all that. Because that don't go with our circle. That's not what E taught us.
yeah.
Hey family, Willie Mo Jr. here. Excited about this moment in time. Welcome to another Love You More show. Now, I'll be honest with you, we're now on all podcasting places wherever you can get it. I know I don't let you call it a podcast because it's a show. I've been finding people $100 each time you call it a podcast. However, we did need somewhere to distribute it audibly. So wherever you get your podcast, make sure that you check us out. Family, I am so excited today because we are over 200,000 subscribers in a very short time. Here's the thing. I know you've been peeking at the show and just saying, oh, this is really, really good. You're feeling stuff in your sha-na-na, thinking that's really, really great, but it's one thing that you may not have done, and I need you to do it. Click that little subscribe button. Let me tell you why. Because I want you to be notified whenever we have these amazing guests. You already know 3 things gonna happen. Number 1, you gonna feel it in your sha-na-na. Number 2, you gonna feel it in your sha-na-na. And number 3, come on, put it in the comments. You gonna feel it in your what? Sha-na-na. Yes, so make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and share. Family, the young man that I get the esteemed privilege to hang out with today, I tell you what, I'm just so proud of what the Lord is allowing him to do. I've seen him from literally working in the mall with a T-shirt company called Sleep is for Suckers. I remember when he first started talking about, man, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do some podcasting. This is before everybody else had one. And I was like, okay, good, you know. And then he was a speaker and he's doing so much. And then just recently this year, I had an opportunity to go to the podcast summit, which he spearheaded. And I realized that he's the definition of excellence. And if it's going to be done right, it has to be done right. How you do anything is how you do everything is what he lives by. The one and only David Shands is here hanging out with me. What's going on, champ?
Man, I am absolutely incredible. Bro, while you were looking at it, I thought you were reading something because it was so, like, flawless. Yeah. And I've learned, you are one of the greatest communicators I know.
Glory to God.
Seriously.
Man, that mean the world to me, man.
Yeah, bro. Like, that's a real skill set to be able to communicate effectively. And I remember we were all on this bus. I think we went to, like, Alabama or something.
Yeah.
And it was myself, E.T., Inky Johnson, CJ, Jeremy, and Willie Moore Jr. One, I'm trying to figure out how I got here.
Whatever.
God good, hate it. I don't know how I got here.
I opened up for you my first speaking engagement in Atlanta. Let's get that out there.
Well,
you won't never let me live that down either. He was like, you lightweight opened up for me.
He opened up for the whole event. Okay, I'm nervous. I don't even remember what's going on because I had to go after Jeremy Anderson, which, as a speaker, that is a feat. And then going before E.T., I am just, I'm nervous, but there's been some words that you've given me on that long ride there and back. I'm interviewing you and the whole gang, and it was just certain things that you share with me that I never forget, and it helped me take my game to the next level. Man,
I really do appreciate that. Watching from afar and up close, it's just been extremely good for me to see. I want to let you know that seeing you become and do and now have a family, because I knew you before you had a wife and children and balance and stuff. Like, you was shooting, baby. I'm talking about, like, he was shooting this shot at everything. I was like, yeah, that's that jersey. It's nothing out here. You know what I mean? Here on the Love You More show, I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch, but we use music as an icebreaker. And in this particular part of the icebreaker, we use music. And I have a Love You More series that really kind of, through music, scenarios, I kind of talked through my whole uncoupling scenario. And on this one, I went to go see Jamal Bryant. And Jamal told me, man, why you don't trust people? And I realized that it was something in me that I had to heal. And that was because I lost one of my best friends and we never knew what happened. The only thing we knew was that his girl was there and, then she kind of just disappeared. And so he said, take me back through that funeral. And I said, all right, I got to relive this. And so when I relived it, I came up with this. Check this out.
Is there anybody out there ever lost a loved one like me? Oh God, is there anybody out there ever lost a friend like me? Oh God, is there anybody out there who needs to forgive God like me?
Let's keep it real. Last question.
Is there anybody out there cried itself to sleep like me? Oh God, go too soon. I know how you feel. Those feelings are real.
Talk to him.
Everybody got an encouraging word. Y'all know how many I heard that ain't really working for me.
Can I just keep it real with y'all today?
Spent all this time on the grind. Should've been with you spending time, but I was busy working. Oh, life is more than working. Since you have been gone, it's just been so lonely around here. But I know there is a God. Lord knows I'm trying my best to hold back my tears. You're gone, but I wouldn't do to bring you back here. But I know that is impossible. My heaven awaits. My only request to God is save room for me. Oh, save some room, just a little room for me.
The name of the song is Save Room for Me, available now wherever you get your music. Make sure that you check it out. David Shands in the building with me now.
Yes, sir.
Indeed. You know, I got a chance to sit on stage with you a few times, and there was a part that always stuck out to me, and is ultimately when you talk about your father. Who was your father to you?
An incredible guidance. He was a mentor of mine, a friend, coach.
Yeah.
He's taught me so much, man. Just a brilliant individual, man. So if you ever got to know him, you'd see a lot of him in me. But yeah, absolutely, just an incredible human being, bro. Brilliant.
So when you look, so how did Dave grow up though? Like, you were raised in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I know you went to Alabama, then you got to Atlanta. Did you grow up with mom and dad in the household together? Were they together? How did that work out?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely breaks in there. So grew up in New Jersey and had my mom and dad. But now that I realize, now that I'm like older, I realize it wasn't a good relationship because I didn't see it as a family. I saw it as I have a mom and a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And like, just as I started to look back, there wasn't a whole lot of connection there. And as I got older, I got a chance to talk to my mom, and they were married for, I think, 18 years, something like that. And I asked her, like, how many of those were good? And she said, probably one. They were together.
Yeah.
But in our house, it never really felt like a family necessarily. I had a mom and a dad and a brother.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of people who stay in relationships for the kids and the children and this, that, and other. Do you think that it was the best thing that you seen growing up? Was it the best thing? Like to be able to at least cohabitate under the same roof for the sake of the children?
I think it was because I didn't see them argue,
Got it.
but I didn't see them love either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was times where I think my 7th grade year, my parents split. My dad stayed in New Jersey. My mom moved down here to Georgia.
Okay.
And I spent my 7th grade here and a part of my 8th grade, and they just came back together. So I came back. And then my senior year of high school, that's when my mom moved to Georgia again, came back, and that was the divide. But as I got older, I knew we were missing something in the house, and it was that connectivity. We all walked, and I went to it was a pastor, but he was like a psychologist too, and I just went through this journey. And he said, you are one of the most guarded people that I've ever met in my life, like emotionless almost. And I got a chance to talk to him. He gave me some insight. He said, based on the story you're telling me, and it was spot on, everybody in our house walked around with this bubble where no one let anybody in. We didn't really talk about emotions or feelings. So I grew up that way, and I'm sure it's a challenge for my wife now because, like, if there's an issue, I'm just like, all right, well, we're gonna
figure it out. It's nothing.
Yeah, I don't give much, and I know it. Sometimes she wish I would raise my voice a little bit.
Yeah.
To at least show that I care, but I'm so like nonchalant.
Yeah.
It can appear as I don't care. You know what I mean?
So when you look at so how did you feel care in the household though? So if there wasn't a whole lot of the family love and stuff, like how did you get your fix of parental care going up, or did that exist?
I mean, what I had in that moment, I'm thinking that's care. I know my mom loves me, my dad loves me, but if you don't ever have that loving family environment, you don't miss it.
Got it.
You don't know. I mean, a lot of my friends don't have a mom or dad, so I'm like, this is lit. I got them both. I'm straight.
Yeah.
My mom and dad, they operate the same way. Like my dad, I'll do something that deserves some, it was abuse back then, but you go to jail. Yo, some of the stuff I went through, they'll go to jail for that. But I knew they'd be angry on the way home, go to your room, I know what that means. But then they'd have me sit in my room for a while, and then my dad would come in, belt in hand.
Yes, Lord.
But there was always this conversation first. It wasn't, I can never remember a time that I got disciplined out of anger. Where I'm angry and I don't want you to do this anymore, and there's like a discipline.
Yeah.
There was always a sit down, let's have a conversation, because I want you to know that I love you. I just hate what you did. I don't hate you. I just hate what you did.
Hate your behavior.
And I understood it and I wished at those times, just beat me, bro. Like, let's save the conversation. Because now you make me feel bad about what I did.
Right.
Let's just get this thing over with. But I think that was just an incredible parenting style that I'm looking to continue to adopt with my kids.
So now you become an entrepreneur after work. Everybody, a lot of people, if you don't know his story, make sure that you check out his entire journey. Like David Shands has a really, really great story. And kind of a microcosm is, you go to Alabama, your cousin up north, he's selling a little weed. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't the best drug dealer. They say you was terrible. It was like, you know what? I think you need to go to school, man.
100%.
Try to do it. And then you have this pivotal moment where your cousin, like, I guess he loses his life.
Yeah.
And then he's no longer there. Yeah. And so you really do take on Alabama. And then you move there and you start working. You go to Cheesecake Factory. You want to be a manager. You realize these Negroes work a whole lot of hours with no enjoyment of life. So you start this T-shirt company with hopes of just getting 200 T-shirts a month at $4,000 a month total. And you ready to hustle. You ready to grind. And then, it just explodes with consistency. I started seeing Sleep for Suckers everywhere. I think you just changed your Instagram name because nobody knows you for that anymore. You know what I mean? Right. So you start doing really, really well. When do you start thinking about companionship if you didn't have a whole lot of love and companionship inside of the house? Like when do you go from, the quick hit on the Friday, Saturday to like, man, I really want a family? Like how did you develop that desire if it wasn't so beautiful at home?
I don't know. Again, I don't know that it wasn't beautiful. It was just us in the house.
Yeah.
And again, I'm comparing me to my friends who don't have both parents.
Yeah, neighborhood.
So I'm like, oh, it's
it's
up.
two of
I
them
guess
here.
we're doing well. I guess this is what family looks like.
Yeah.
We just didn't talk about emotions, but because I never had it, I didn't miss it.
Yeah.
So for one, I was never really the type to have a bunch of girls. Mentally, I just never could handle that. You know what I mean? One and a possible is enough. You know what I mean?
Spade.
But I met my wife actually on Tinder.
Wait a minute, time out. You said you met her on Tinder?
On Tinder.
I've
for
never
sure.
been on nothing that looked like Tinder. What
Really?
is Tinder? Is that like
Oh,
the dating app?
Yeah, it's a dating
Is it
app.
swipe left and right?
For sure.
Which way did you swipe?
I don't remember, but we swiped the right way. You know what I mean? It was a good swipe. But here's what's crazy. I'm on the apps because I've always had a problem approaching women.
Really?
Yeah. You ever go in the mall, you're like, oh, you're attractive, and you just walk up? The rejection is just too much for me.
Dave, you selling T-shirts. People saying no all day.
Yeah, but it's different because I'm not emotionally tied to you. An example. And I think this is the moment that scarred me. And I told her on a podcast the other day. I'm in the club. Back then, you used to grind on butts. That's what we did. You just walk up, you just grind on a little butt, right?
Yeah.
So one time, I remember I'm just going from butt to butt in the club. We out here. I'm dancing, and I guess her friend tapped her. She, they dancing, they turn around, and she stopped, take her butt back. I'm like, hold up, where you?
You can't take your butt back?
And then I'm like, oh wow, that's real rejection. And I think my friend saw it and roasted me for the rest of the night. And I don't know, I just never was good at approaching. I say all that to say, I lived with that for a long time. So when Tinder came out, it's like just swipe left and right. So nobody sees me get rejected. I don't even feel I get rejected because if I swipe left or whatever and you swipe right, well, I don't know that you rejected me.
Yeah.
I only see the ones that swipe the same way I swiped.
Yeah.
So I'm just on there, and I met my wife, and we were talking. She was good. And if I'm being honest, I operate out of a strong sense of logic. I'm like, wow, she's beautiful. She's cooking. She's nurturing. We believe the same thing. And I was like, let's get married. 6 months later. So that's how that worked out.
More Love You More podcast after this.
Yes, Lord. You know I got to keep it real with you. But what I want you to do is I want to make sure that you share this, you comment, you click like, engage with us. Listen, everybody wants to be celebrated, not just tolerated. Don't just tolerate us, celebrate us by liking, sharing, and commenting. Can't do it without you. That's all you got to do. Just click it. Do that for me.
Love you more.
So I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, I want a family. I said, this one right here is a perfect mate for me. And I don't want to date a lot. I don't want to be going through a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't a moment of, oh my gosh, my heart stops a beat without you. It wasn't that way.
Yeah.
It was, wow, this is a really good option. I operate out of a lot of logic, bro. But then I've come to really, really love my wife, and I believe God just put that together.
Yeah.
So
wait a minute. You know how like when somebody playing the game and they get in their zone
Yeah.
and then they have to slow the tape down? I feel like I got to get in my zone and slow the tape down. You swiping right, you find this woman, you realize the attributes. Is there a first date? Like,
yeah, we had a first date. I didn't propose until 6 months later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we first date, it was good, worked out, we're talking, we're dating. At this point, I realized, wow, this is a really, really good woman. Let's get married.
How you propose?
I was like, yo, you want to get married?
Just like that? No need? Nothing.
I had no ring or nothing. I was like, look, I'm logic. I'm logic. I'm like, yo, I don't know what type of ring you like. So let's go to the.
Where are you?
We
when
went to
you say
K
this?
Jeweler, huh?
Where were you? Like you on the couch? You in the car?
All right, so this is gonna sound
Hey, you
crazy.
want to get married? At Cheesecake Factory?
No.
Surely
We
not
was-
Cheesecake
We
Factory.
was at my best friend Brandon's house, and I guess we were like playing cards or something, and we was having a couple drinks, and then we just go home, and like we left the house, and before we got in the car, I was like, "Hey, you want to get married?"
What she
6
say?
years ago, She said, really? So I was like, yeah.
What'd you say, Dave?
I promise you this, and I ain't had no ring, so I didn't plan on this, but I was like, I don't know what type of ring you like, so we can go to K Jeweler and you just pick your own ring and you get what you like. So, that was 6 years ago.
Dave, I had no idea that you were leaving the party. You want to get married? Like, really? Yeah. This is a movie.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
6
man, I'm
years
giving
later.
y'all hope out there. It can happen like
It
this.
can happen like that. Come on. So you get married, you do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
How did business and life change once you got married?
A lot, because I wanted to incorporate my wife into my business, but that didn't work out well because you're not an entrepreneur. And my whole life as an entrepreneur, I hire people and I ask them to do certain things because that's what I hired you for. But it doesn't work like that with your wife. Where I'm like, I need you to do this. And she's like, well, I don't think we should do it that way because, and I'm like,
No,
we just got here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm asking you to do this for a reason. And there was a hard separation between.
Hey, we just got here. Okay?
You feel me?
I got a way that I do things on this ship.
Yes. So now it works out because she manages the event space and she's absolutely killing it. So, and we still have conversations, but we've learned each other over these last 6 years, so that works out well. But there was definitely an adjustment because, I'm living a sleepless for suckers lifestyle and I'm out all night, which was cool until we started having, smaller children. We came with one. She was my daughter, Corey, was 7 years old when I met her.
Okay.
And I adopted her, but it wasn't like I had to be home for that. So I had to learn to come home early, which was a blessing because now in the time frame that I have during the day to work, I'm way more productive because I know I'm leaving at 4 o'clock.
So 4 o'clock is your cutoff.
Yeah, I'm out of here. And some days are later, but for the most part.
And I know you implement the Sabbath on Saturday.
For sure. Yeah.
How long did it take you to really structure that type of lifestyle? Like, because I know you're feeling your way through. Because your dad is a worker. He grinding, he do what he got to do, come when he come, you know what I mean, do what he does. Like, how long did it take you to really kind of figure out the right flow for your family? Because everybody's individual.
Yeah. I mean, that's assuming that I have the right flow. I'm still working on it.
Got it.
It's a process. If you're intentional about being home a certain time, you will. So if you know I got to leave, if you have like an important event to go to at 5 o'clock, you're going to do all that you can that day to make sure you're there. Well, it had to be important for me to do that. And it's just more communication. I had to learn this with my wife too, that I just have to communicate those seasons. You're an entrepreneur, so you know there's seasons where you have to lock in for a period of time. So I would be doing an event, and I got this event coming up in a few months, and I'm just grinding. I'm going after it. But I don't communicate that with my wife. And then there's all these problems, and there's friction. And I'm upset with her because she just doesn't understand what it takes to become successful. Well, I realized that all I have to do is say, hey, I'm walking into one of those seasons where you're not going to get as much time as possible. If you feel like we need to like have some time, let's have the conversation, let's schedule it. We'll pick a day, we'll go out, get somebody to watch the kids. But I just had to communicate it's one of those seasons. And that changed the game. But we're only 6 years in, bro. We're still trying to figure out this balance.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. So I see you building business, I see you building brand, and then I see you really holding on to that family unit. So I just want to say, like, I commend you for that because, full transparency, first generation of making a few dollars myself. Like my daddy worked as a custodian, my mom worked as a housekeeper. I didn't grow up with money. Like I was a club promoter, party promoter, doing Lord knows what, jumped into R&B and then finally get into God and really accept Jesus. And I'm just like, okay, cool. This is really, really awesome. And then immediately it was like, oh, Pretty Willie's saved now. Let's just put him in a church arena. I'm just like, I still cuss. Like, I don't know. I don't even know the prayer y'all supposed to be getting saved. They would have to literally give me like read this. If anybody wants Jesus to be, you know what I mean? Like, it was just really, really tough. And then going through lack and poverty and all of that, like, I still feel like I'm still running and just running and running and running and running. And my biggest mistake in relationship was I thought everybody should understand that I'm doing this for us. But it was just so selfish because really, if it's not communicated that it's for us, it doesn't appear that it's going for us because us want me at the house.
Yeah, for
like if
sure.
you're really doing it for us, we want you to be here a lot more. And at least when you're here, be here.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was one of my biggest mistakes in relationship. That's saying like I would always bring work home. Like I had a very hard time like cutting it off, especially if we right there. Like I'm like, wait a minute, we're almost there. And so when it comes to this podcasting space and this show space, I'm like, nope, I'll block it off. I'll batch it so I can also enjoy life. What does enjoyment look like for David Shands? Because you too are a grinder. Are you a pretty good vacationer nowadays?
Terrible vacation.
I'm a terrible vacationer.
No, I work. Yo, it's to your point,
terrible.
right? You're like, yo, you have a family.
It doesn't stop.
And you're doing it for us, but I had to ask my question to myself, are we really doing it for the family? Or are we feeding something inside of us?
Yeah.
Like I would say, yo, I'm trying to get my wife to understand that I am doing all this to provide for my family. But I was really doing all of it to provide for that itch that I have as an entrepreneur. I'm building this because I like to build stuff. I've done some great things in my life where I have some money coming in, and I can take care of my family right now and give them as much time as they need right now. But I continue to go build stuff. And the question is why? It's not that my family needs more. I like doing that stuff.
Right.
You feel me? Like this is feeding me.
Yeah.
This is like, oh, I'm doing it for my kids. No, you're not. You like being lit. You like going to the airport and people say, yo, I love your show. I love that stuff. Then I want some abundance, and I want to be fresh. I want to be fly. I want to get a watch. That watch ain't for everybody in your family. That's what's for you. You wanted that.
Yes.
And to get that, you got to go grind. And I had to have a realization, these are the things I work for me. When I take the trip with my family, I have to realize that trip is for them. And I don't enjoy it myself for relaxation purposes. I'm enjoying the fact that my kids love being in the sand, and I like the fact that my wife sees that I'm present and my phone is away, but I also take them trips where it's just me and my laptop and I get to work. That's what I'm into.
So, because that's what I enjoy. And I don't know how to explain that to people, but I do got to ask you this. So when you are away, like when you are away with the family and then you don't have your phones or whatever, like is there some parts of it that you get a chance to enjoy, or are you just kind of like, woo, what's going on the back end?
Yeah, the memories with the kids and the family. Yeah. I love my family, and I love being with my family. Yeah. But it's not, it's like me being intentionally a father and a husband. Yeah. I have to remind myself, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. Yes. And my brain thinks build. Not chill, ever. It just doesn't operate that way. Yeah. So I have to be intentional about, okay, because my son will take my phone out of my hand and just toss that joint. Yeah. He did it yesterday. I'm like trying to manage him, and I'm trying to send this email, and he takes it and throws it. I'm like, oh, you're right. Let me just put that, okay, let me be in the moment.
Yeah, be in the moment.
So I do love spending time with my family and the memories and knowing that I'm there, but it's just hard. I mean, I'm still trying to turn off this entrepreneurial love because it's the only thing that that's never disappointed me, and I can predict typically how things are going to go. As an entrepreneur, I got this idea. If I didn't make any money, it's because I didn't work, and I can feel that. And if I want to make some more, if I want to do something, I just got to go a little harder. But human beings are kind of fickle. Bro, somebody told me this story where him and I don't even know why I'm saying this. Because I'm trying to, I don't remember the point of it, but you're going to get it. But he was like, yo, this father grew up with his daughter, and they were just best friends forever. Child goes off to college, comes back, different person. She don't want to hang out with him no more. Heartbreaking. Dang. That's your child. Like humans, as they grow up, and I hope this never, ever happens with my family, but I might not be as cool to them as they think. So I know as an entrepreneur, that's just where my brain is, and I love this stuff. I do it for me, but I got to turn it off intentionally. Yeah. So I don't know I don't remember the question.
No, real. That's
you just got me
real.
in my feelings, just sharing my thoughts at the time.
It's a safe space, just being 100.
Okay,
like, you know what I mean? But thank you for sharing. So I'm just kind of thinking through the environment that was created, which was safe, growing up as a child. Do it yourself, 2 parents in the household. And you just like me. I grew up, even though adopted, I got 2 of the best parents in the world. It's caring, baby. It's love here. Even though we in the hood, median income $17,000. Hey, baby, behind these doors, it ain't nothing but love going on. We having nothing but love. So for me, coming into family, I had never seen conflict. That's not real. Like, my mom and dad have never argued. Like, I've never, well, they have spats, but once they get to the F-bomb and F-bomb, hell, they go about their business. They like, love you, and then we back on the porch, like, we get over things fast. So going into a marriage where it was like going back and forth, like, I'm like, no, I already said that. And then I just said that about the 3rd time, I just shut down, and I grow into this shut down. So now moving forward, I'm like, oh, conflict is a part of it. So through therapy, through counseling, through Celebrate Recovery, what I'm learning now is that conflict is a part of it. Like, I'm really good in business with conflict because I don't care. Like, I don't care that much. But I'm like, you know me. You know my heart. You know I love you. Why do I have to explain to you? Because you know that if I did something wrong, I genuinely didn't try to. You know what I mean? In business, like, you don't know me. So it is what it is. I have to continue to communicate effectively. So for me, I know now what that looks like. So my overarching question for you now is like not being able to see like people like be in this bridge of life and just what you see on television, you trying to create a family without a beautiful blueprint, which was a good blueprint, but maybe not just a blueprint. What steps are you taking as a man, not them? Like, is there therapy? Is there mentorship? Are you taking that same tenacity towards family as you are in entrepreneurship?
Dang, I'm not. I don't take any therapy. I guess on my own, I'm, again, being more intentional, but, yeah, no, that's a really good question. I guess I need to go. We did it one time, but it was kind of whack. I didn't like it. But I think we probably could, maybe. But I think the issue with the first time was that we did therapy is because I think I was looking at the therapist as a referee, and I'm trying to win. But I think she was trying to win too. We got this one person that is the judge. I plead my case, you plead your case, and we waiting for the sentences. Like, which one you think? I'm right, ain't I?
This is so Dave. I want to tell everybody in front of this camera, this is totally who he is. I just thought it would be different in marriage. Like, wait a minute, you trying to win?
Yeah, I mean, not intentionally, but now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I was just trying to make sure I ain't tripping. You feel me? Because you don't know. You think I'm tripping. You don't think I'm tripping, do you? Right? So, like, I'm looking for some support, and I think I won a little bit. You feel me? I was like, I don't need this. And she was mad that I won, so.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be a winner or loss, right?
This should not be a win or loss. Nobody wins.
Bro, I am such a logical person.
This guy said, I low-key won.
Yeah, I remember one time, it was the craziest thing in the world. We're having this issue, and I'm trying to explain something to my wife. And this is when we had we was in like a townhouse, and I had this whiteboard on the wall. So I'm trying to explain this point, she's explaining her point, and I go to the whiteboard and try to draw out the point, because maybe she'll see it visually. At the time, all right, Katie, at the time, I'm thinking this is gonna work, because maybe you need to see it. Maybe you need to see it. Yeah, it didn't work. But this is I am admittedly a work in progress.
Yeah, and that's real.
You know what I mean? So
are you against therapy on your own?
No, I'm not. I will go.
So 2018, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people, like, it's like, oh, everything just happened so abrupt. No, it's a 7-year process. 2018, I knew that I was in love with people. I was in love with the stage. I was in love with the attention that was given, because there was a little boy on the inside of me. Yeah. A little boy who at age 7 years old was made fun of because he was adopted. And so the only thing that I ever seen was, like, I'm going to show my mama what she missed out on. So I'm going to be good in everything. State champion in track and field, 3.5 GPA. Like, I did everything that I could to be seen. I got 4 or 5. I'm on my 7 line. I tell niggas all the time, I'm in 7. My nigga Willie with the SS, Pretty Willie, P-Dub, Willie Mo Jr. I got a whole lot of chapters. And then I realized when I had my daughter, that I never explored how to love a woman correctly. And what type of father would I be if I didn't explore what this little boy on the inside of me that continues to get offended by things? So I had to explore. So I started therapy solely for Paisley. Like, I got to get some more tools for Paisley.
Wow.
Because I want to make sure, because they say a woman is going to always marry her dad. A little girl may marry her dad. And I was like, am I the type of man that I want my daughter to marry? And I was like, the answer is I don't know. Because I'm a good man. I'm a good priest. I'm a provider. I do all of that. But am I really emotionally available for her, though? Like, will I be sensitive enough? Because, you know, I'm kind of like you, you know, especially when it comes to a girl. I'm like, come on, man, you ain't got to, it's all good. You know, everything going to be good. It's all good. Things are going to be good. Because I'm a big picture thinker. Like, if you focus on the immediate, you just not seeing my ultimate. Because see, ultimately, this is gonna work out for you good. Look at what the words say. All things, what it said, all, I circle all.
Sure.
You didn't do the whiteboard, but I'm like manipulating with the words. See, all. And it's like, nah, but there's some feelings that happen in there. So I started to go to therapy so I could be a better version of myself. And so when I look at you, I was like, man, there's such a level of success. Like, this is just really the tip of the iceberg. Like, when you see what God wants you to build next, it's going to scare the hell out of you. You're going to be like, wait a minute, I don't know. It's going to take partnership all globally. It's going to take a global partnership, which requires a whole lot of time. And because I was not anchored, man, you know, I lost something that was valuable in that season that could have worked. But I had done so much stuff, you know, ahead of time, not even on like no girl stuff. Nigga, I'm just not available. Even though I'm there and I'm loving the kids and it look good, I'm just like, man, something on the inside of me needs some help. And when I went to go get help, man, it changed everything. Like, it changed everything. And I don't think I've ever said this, and I don't even know if we'll edit it out, but just because you're my brother, and I don't even care if people hear, I feel like I owe an explanation to you because I didn't tell you why, like, divorce and all that. Because that don't go with our circle. That's not what E taught us.
Yeah.
I feel like a failure to you guys.
Really?
So I ain't come around. But E came and pulled up on me and looked me in my face and picked my chin up and said, bro, I'm never leaving you. I don't care what you did. Like, now dust yourself off and do whatever you have to do. And so I think it's my responsibility to say, hey, man, this is where I got it wrong, bro.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for that therapy stuff and, like, really seeing myself, the only reason I got a divorce is because I seen a vision for myself.
Yeah.
And the version that I became after 3 years of therapy, meeting my biological family, I realized that I was also worth something. And so it's nothing that she did. It was all about who I had become and the surrounding cast that I wanted around me. And I realized that type of behavior and all of that, I just wasn't built for that.
Yeah.
And so I decided to step away, and that's when I filed. And I had to let things go. So all of the craziness and all that other stuff, man, I'm an okay looking dude. It ain't a girl in this world that I can't have a conversation with and at least get a smile. So it will never be for a woman. It will never be for anything else besides something that I had to do for myself to become this version of myself.
Wow.
And so I would love to see you during this time, before this big vision, which I see, it's global. It's massive. I don't know what it is, but I see you in suits. I see Dubai. I see the world being your playground.
Wow.
Anchor the home.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing on this other side gonna get lost, bro.
Yeah.
Cause you got that stuff running on autopilot. So it's okay to anchor the home and make sure everybody got their tools, because this launching pad that God has you on, as sure as my name is Willie, bro, it is so global, white, black, like people, you know, them dudes with the black hair, the real good hair, them the boys that you gonna be hanging out with. The circle looks really, really different, and everything else will be staffed. But in order for you to have the peace of mind that you're gonna be necessary for that, it's just a lockdown in this season. I also see in the spirit that you in a season of rest, and that's okay. Like, you ain't got to go do something.
Yeah.
Just lock down the family. God is giving you a very good opportunity right now to get the therapy, get the help, make sure everybody is healthy, and you go back and tell the vision, like, I don't know what this vision is, but it is a huge runway, and it is global.
Yeah.
And it's not just internet. I'll have to be in Morocco. I'll have to be in Dubai. I'll have to be in China. I have to be in Thailand. I have to do it. Why do I have so many friends with private planes and all that other stuff? It's not for pictures. It's because that's what's going to be necessary for you. Like, you got a global call on your life. But there's some pieces that'll destroy you if you're not careful, if you don't go ahead and just kind of fix up those pieces.
100%.
Because you got to be able to feel, because you're not going to be able to speak the language.
Yeah.
I don't know what you know. I don't know what you know. It feel like you're going to have to feel it, because it's going to be an interpreter to speak to close these deals that I see for you.
More Love You More podcast after this.
Hey family, I'm on TV. Tune into Truth Talks on Fox Soul Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in. Flat out.
Love you more.
Man, I was talking to my friend Zeus. He's a trainer, and we was kind of having these conversations. And he said, I have 2 daughters. And he said there's some places that you won't be able to go to emotionally with them, and it hurt me to the core because you're right, and that's not something that you just turn on and I can connect with you. You got hurt. You're feeling away. You feel embarrassed. You're getting bullied. Whatever that feeling is. Emotionally, I can't reach. I don't have the tools necessarily. You know what I mean? Or the things that my wife is going through, like that postpartum thing. That was a rough time for us because I just couldn't understand. I couldn't get there. And I know things are bad, and I know you're feeling a certain way, but my brain is just so logical and positive. Even when my mom passed, which was one of the worst things that ever happened to me, and I don't know if this is I think it's a good thing, but it's kind of weird. But even when my mom passed, it was not too far after I had my first daughter. So I was able to lock into gratefulness for the fact that God took the closest person to me, but gave me another. So I'm grateful. And I don't even think I've had the time to emotionally sit in that hurt, because I know I'm hurt, but I didn't have a chance to sit in it. I honestly just don't have the tools, and I think my wife is understanding that now too about me, where she's not just upset at me for maybe some of the ways I respond, but she understands I don't have the tools, and she's learning me and how to circumnavigate that to get more out of me. And I can honestly say that I've been trying to at least, it's like I'm right-handed, but I'm writing with my left hand. It's never comfortable, but at least I'm trying. I can say that I'm trying, but I think you're right. I'm going to need someone that is really, really good to help me kind of dig past all of the things that are on top of my feelings, because I just I don't have them readily available.
The biggest problem for me is I was being celebrated for moving in the wrong direction.
Explain that.
Everybody's excited, man. Man, you the state champion, boy. You're doing good. Still not dealing with that 7-year-old that's hurt. Oh, man, you got a full ride scholarship to Ole Miss, baby. That's good. It is. Still not dealing with that 7-year-old kid who was made fun of. I don't mess with adopted kids. Finding out. When my parents told me that I was adopted, I didn't even ask no more questions. I just said, am I a dog? And they was like, no, you're not a dog. You chosen. I asked my 7-year-old, when he was 7, he's now 9 years old. He's 7 years old. And I said, she's like, can you explain adoption to me? I'm like, sure, son. And now I got tools, because I've been in therapy now for over three years at that time. And I said, well, can you imagine mommy and daddy, we're just out one day, and then somebody's at the playground and they say, you know your mom and your dad aren't your real mom and dad. And then you go into the house and your mom and dad say, yeah, what those kids said was absolutely the truth, but we love you and we chose you. What would you say? He said, can you give me a moment so I could think about it? I said, ain't this something? He said, I would tell you and mom that I was so disappointed. Because I don't understand. And I would probably ask, why didn't you guys tell me? And I was like, I looked him in the face and I said, son, you're so much stronger than me. Because I didn't do that. I just went and got a piece of her pizza. And I just went on with my life. And I built everything on the accomplishments, because I will show you. But at 35, you know you doing real, real good. You making money. People across the nation, they know you because you got a syndicated radio show. You speaking with E.T. the hip-hop preacher. Like, great things are happening. You finally seeing more money than you've ever seen. You know, you still living a real non-lavish life because you living in the like, hey, I don't know how long this gonna last, you know what I mean? And then it hits you that this 7-year-old needs some help because you're starting to realize like, wait a minute, every time this little boy gets offended, I just go to work. Every time I'm gonna build something else. Like, you gonna see me. Our homeboy Jeremy hit me the other day. He said, I ain't saying you never went nowhere, but this is the best comeback I ever seen in my life. And I said, yes, and that's cool, but it feels that way because I'm not building from a place of hurt. I'm not building from a place of hiding. I'm not building from a place of, I'll show you. I'm not building from a place of competition. I'm building from a place of love because God showed me how to love myself. And because the Bible says that we are to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, I can feel emotion because I literally love myself so much. So I can sit there with my daughter. I can sit down there with my spouse. Even after all of the crazy, hurtful things that my former wife said, I can still make sure that I stay in a constant place of love. And you will never get me out of this love because I found something in me through therapy, accountability partners, not just my money partners. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm closer now with people who won't work nowhere in my industry. Mm-hmm. Like, man, what you do? Okay, cool. And we just hold each other accountable, not for our money, because I'm not doing a dick contest, piss contest. I'm not doing that. Because we all can be rich and still be living with some craziness. So what I decided to do is like, nah, man, we're going to go on this emotional journey. Because I know where I'm going, it's going to take a different level of sensitivity to the people that I have to touch, the people that I have to impact. And then God took me to El Salvador and I had to go speak with a translator because I didn't know Spanish. So I had to feel them. I had to feel what they were going through. And of course, the competitive person in me, like, when I come back here to speak, I'm going to know Spanish. And I'm going to know it well. You know what I mean? And so the question becomes is, how bad do you want the vision that I know God has for you? It's going to take a different level of emotion.
Yeah.
And I want you to get that help. Yeah. Because ain't nobody gonna say it because you winning. Yeah. Nobody told me to get no help except Ayanna Van Zandt. Yeah. Ayanna looked at me and said, you need some help. How you think you okay?
I wanted to ask this because the way I operate, it protects me. Yeah. In terms of like you can't hurt me. Like let's say for instance somebody that I'm really, really close to leaves me. I will be disappointed. But it's not going to kill me. It's not going to spin me into a depression because I don't have that. I don't have that feeling. Mm-hmm. I don't have that deep rooted man. This hurt, and it could paralyze me. So maybe that's kind of how I've justified who I am because this protects me. Maybe not so good for the people around me because you can't penetrate the wall. But for me, I'm protected. Mm-hmm. But if I wasn't so protected, then a lot more things would harm me. So this is how I've justified the way I am, and I'm not in a rush for help because I want to be the person that can be hurt. Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I don't think I want to be that guy.
Yeah. But why does it have to be hurt? Why can't it just be aware? Because sometimes you don't even know or be even aware, like, oh, they hurt you?
Well, I can tell when someone else is hurt, but in terms of my feeling. Yeah. So I don't have high highs or low lows. Yeah. So that's the trade-off. I'm not gonna go too low. I won't like spiral into a depression. I don't get that low. Yeah. But even after I win something, it's not like a whoa celebration. Yeah. Yes, I did. It's like
that was good. It worked.
That was good.
Next.
It worked. Great. Next. Yeah. So I don't know if I think God designed me a certain way, and this is me and maybe you can help me with this, but this is me saying, this is my justification for the way I am because I've seen people where they internalize all these feelings. Mm-hmm. And anytime something goes wrong, it's hard for them to handle it because they're too emotionally tied to the thing, and I'm not.
Yeah. So I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I was too emotionally attached to it. Mm-hmm. And so through therapy, help, and all of that, I'm a lot more rigid. I walked off set last time we shot.
Really?
Somebody sat in that chair, and they didn't want to talk about what this show represents. What you've taught me is that I have a flow, and we talk to our niche, We don't have broad conversations. We'll bring in what you're doing, but you taught us this. And if you come to the NBA, you come with a basketball.
Yeah.
There were times I would just keep on going and going and going, and I would just be so polite and just so nice, this, that, and other. But through therapy and living this, I'm like, I don't have to take that. So for me, it's just on the other side. I just think it's just a beautiful balance.
Gotcha.
So now emotionally, like, it don't bother me. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. It's all good.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, it's been so much better for business because they know that I don't really roll that way. So what I'm saying for you, as my brother and my friend, I'm just saying this gonna always be good. You're gonna make millions of trillions of dollars, but for the impact, for the mantle that's on your life, there has to be some form of help for what you're going to have to feel for global. US, you dope.
Yeah.
You gonna be dope. Like, money gonna be nothing. It's like, come on, man, you build stuff. You do whatever you have to do. People come to you to build. For consulting alone, you can probably do, $100,000 every 2 weeks if you choose. But it's like, do I want my mantle or do I want to keep number crunching?
That made it make sense.
Yeah.
That
That's
just
just
made
the
it make
question.
sense.
Because
Yeah.
you're going to be big in our circle no matter what. And we're going to love you regardless. But what I see in you is a global mantle that God put there. And the question becomes is, can we save this little boy who has now created so many protectors for himself that he feels nothing?
I feel a little something with it. A little bit.
A little bit. When I see my daughters, I love them. If you crying, baby, I understand.
Yeah.
But what if just vision, because you're a vision guy, but what if there's a way that you get in the car and you just like, all right, God, posture my heart to know what's going to go on in the house before I even get there.
That's good.
And you walk in and you just like, yep, I already knew it. That's why I got off the phone 10 minutes early before I come in, because I knew she was going to need a lot.
Yeah.
What if you posture your heart to have the tools that even in the midst of conflict, that you can bend down on one knee, you can slow down your cadence in speaking, and saying, you know what, babe, I don't understand it either. You want to sit here and just play some cards, or you want me to color with you? Yeah. It's all good. I'm just here. I'm just saying, through help, God has given me some really dope discernment. Yeah. And I'm not beating my chest, because Lord knows I'm still fighting different things every single day. But when it comes to the emotional part, I'm like, okay, cool, I got that part. And then on the rigid part, I'm strong enough to walk off set if it don't work for me. And I don't care who leaves.
That's good. That's good.
And I'm not trying to be anybody's superhero, but I'm just living in the freedom that God requires for the mantle that's on my life.
That's good.
And the global mantle that you have requires that. It does.
It's like a therapy session a little bit. Nah, for real. Like, nah, this is a good conversation, man. Because I think you had a great way of, if someone's like the importance of, okay, being able to like be emotionally tied to people, I'm like, all right, cool, that's a good thing to do. But I think you kind of weaved in what I told you what I love business. Oh, I need to be able to communicate with some people who don't speak my language. And I think that's part of the toolkit that I'm about to. You got some tools I can borrow?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, yeah,
It's
I
nothing.
appreciate it. I
You
need to
my
hold
guy.
some of that.
Yeah.
Man, this is good.
But Dave, listen, let me tell you this, man. I'm so proud of you. I've watched so many different interviews, and people are so infatuated with your business mind. They're infatuated with your building skills. And I'm just really, really overly excited about the man that you've become.
Thank you.
And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to sit down with a brother and friend that I've seen the maturation not only of his brand, but as him as a man, to tell you thank you. And then a good friend is not going to only tell you like, hey, man, things are good. They also going to say, man, I see something bigger for you.
Yeah.
Even though it's big here, like, you're going to do some things that we really can't do. You just can't. I'm going to do some things that you really can't do.
For sure.
But what you got to do is global, And I think we all have a global call, but I think you're going to spend more time overseas than you will ever imagine. You'll have homes everywhere.
Thank you.
You will have homes everywhere, bro. Like, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, man, it's crazy, but... You remember when we was on the thing? I ain't hit nobody yet. But this is the one in Morocco. Listen, that's all I'm saying. And this is my translator. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to learn their language because I already know 7. Like, you remember that time of rest? I did French, I did Farsi, I did this. These are conversations now. So, now I'm 55, and I'm just thinking, man, like, when I started chilling out with the little therapist guy, who I hated, by the way, I didn't like him. He was bringing stuff in me I didn't want to talk about. But it was so good. So now when I walk in, I don't even have to say nothing. I just know who's who. And I'm just able to be like, no, that's the person I do business with right there. That's the person I'm going to add more value to. And you're going to be able to do it. And I'm going to be right on and I'm talking about I'm going to be on the sideline like, look at him go! Because I just want to see this thing I seen in you when I was studying you for the last 2 days. I was like, man, this dude going to be massive. But it's going to take that balance of emotion and all of that.
Man, y'all better find some friends that could give you a bitch. I ain't see none of that.
Yeah.
And like, even as you're talking, like I told you, one of the best communicators I've ever met in my life, man. Willie, thank you.
Just
man.
invite me to the house in Morocco. That's all I'm asking. Okay, we're going to his house in Morocco. Family, can I just talk to you real quick? Here's the thing. Never know where these interviews are going to go. It just so happened that I get an opportunity to sit with a guy that I seen go build brick by brick. We all come from the school of Eric Thomas. Thank God it's Monday. And so Mondays are our best friends. And during the time, I seen people go and I seen people grow and I seen me go and I kind of grow. But then there's also another level that our mentors may not have ever been to, that we've never seen on our own, that our other friends have to say, I see that in you. My question to you today, is there somebody in your immediate circle that you love so much that you will not allow them to meander in the maze of mediocrity? You just won't allow it. And it's not that they're not doing good. You just know that there's another level that can take them, that God wants to take them to. My question to you throughout this conversation, I don't believe I was offensive. I believe my heart posture was love. And I believe sometimes the help that you want to give, if it comes from a loving place and you love yourself so much, you can actually be a blessing to your neighbor without fear that this person is going to become more successful than me. And so I can't give them a little bit more because I want to be. And if you continue to use your ego will always edge God out. I want to see you win. I want everybody behind this camera to say, you know what? Maybe there's something on the inside of me that not necessarily needs to be fixing, but just refined. And maybe if you refine it, you'll get an opportunity to go to a level and you'll be able to sustain on that level. And everybody in your family, lineage, heritage, and everybody who knows you, you'll be a black and white picture like Martin Luther King in all of your family's living room. They'll say that girl, that guy changed everything. You're a world changer. And I thank you so much for viewing today. Thank you so much. Do me a favor. Can you subscribe to this channel? Share this with about 15 people. You wonder why I use 15? Me too. Praise the Lord. But I want you to go ahead and share this with as many people as possible. We're over 200,000 subscribers. Depending on when you watch this, we may be over 1 million. Family, don't forget to love yourself more. Flat out.
Love you more. Love you more.